Okay, welcome to our third thesis presentation of the day and the third of the semester. So today we've got Edward. I remember when we first started trying to pick topics, Edward was really trying to find a basketball topic that worked. And I think what he ended up with was not basketball at all. But it's a good topic. It's a relevant topic to today's working environment, especially. So I'm going to read what Edward would like me to say. Edward says, I would like to thank my mom and dad for helping me prepare for the speech. Mr. Trevor is my advisor. Thank you for giving great advice on my thesis structure and grammar. I would like to thank Keenan for doing nothing. And last but not least, I would like to thank Mr. Abed for refusing to be my advisor at the beginning of the year because he said he was not interested in the topic. And now he shows up to be my panelist. I probably should have read that before I started reading it out loud. Now, welcome, Edward. His title is Bye-Bye Cubicles, Hello Flexibility, Why Hybrid Work Should Be the New Normal. Hold on just 1 second while I get the timer set up. All right, you can start whenever you're ready.
Let me start with a well-known scenario. Steve is sitting at his desk, exhausted before his day even began. He's caught in a strict routine and rigid schedule that values time spent more than work done. Passion has been replaced by pressure. Steve, like millions of other workers worldwide, needs a better system, not more motivation. And that system is hybrid working. Something changed for Steve when he was finally allowed to work part-time at home and part-time in the office. He did a better job with enthusiasm and concentration. And most importantly, he had time for himself. Looking back, he thought of the question that why did it take so long for us to believe that work should adapt to people, not the other way around? The idea of flexible work is not new. Throughout history, work has changed based on what society needed. Farms, factories, and from cubicles to cloud computing. Early 1973, Jack Niles, an engineer, suggests that people could work close from home to avoid traffic and save energy. Decades later, tools like Zoom, Gmail, and cloud storage made his idea possible. However, remote and hybrid work did not explode until COVID-19. By 2021, most companies had no choice but to adapt. And it worked very well. It was evident that a company, particularly PwC, had opened a poll in 2020 that 83% of their employers said that the shift towards a more remote work went well. Many people today continue to use hybrid work, not just because they can, but because they should. Hybrid work gives employees flexibility while maintaining the benefits of office collaboration. Teams are allowed to meet face-to-face, where hybrid work, when it is needed, everyone has their time and space to focus. What are the results? A better productivity, mental health, and have a genuine work-life balance. Governments has taken notice. The Office of Personnel Management in the United States launched a hybrid work toolkit. And the public sector in Canada implemented a common hybrid model, which prioritized employee flexibility and well-being while having to do in-person attendance only 3 to 4 days a week in the toolkit. Why is this so important? Because the traditional office model is outdated. This does not represent the technology, ideals, or realities of today's day and age. Employees want flexibility, more time with family, health, and their lives, and not controlled by work. And companies benefit too, where hybrid work cuts operating costs, expands the talent pool, Though hybrid work is not entirely perfect. There is a requirement to be disciplined, have clear expectations, and have strong communications. Businesses must have trust in their people and design systems that encourage flexibility rather than restricting it. But when done poorly, it can be very bad for everyone. But if done right, it can be a win for everyone. Though hybrid work is not entirely perfect, hybrid work benefits three key players. First, the employee, with flexibility, reduced stress, and a chance for real balance. Second, the company. It lowers costs, improves talent retention, and better productivity. Third, the customer. It has better service from happier and more focused employees. Hybrid work is like a hybrid car. It fuses the best of both worlds and includes the collaboration of in-office and the efficiency of hybrid work, which adapts to the needs of the driver. Hybrid work has become an increasingly viable option for the workplace challenges, where it offers both employees and organizations significant benefits. Let's start with flexibility. People can shape their schedule and environment in a way that suits their environment and lifestyle. A recent LinkedIn survey from an Istanbul company revealed that not everyone can thrive in the same work setting. Some employees value privacy and quiet, while others require open offices. Even when it comes to office design, 71% of them prioritize functionality, 17% prioritize cutting-edge technology, and 11% prioritize their comfort. That's the beauty of hybrid work. It respects these differences. People can choose whether they want to work from home, in an office, or wherever they feel comfortable or suitable. This flexibility enhances performance and is convenient. A great example of this is Microsoft, which allows employees to work from home up to 50% of the time. And what are the results? More connecting and less commuting. Workers are free to work however they feel suitable, which helps with their focus. The focus shifts from where you work or how long you work to what you achieve. Both the person and the business benefits from this. Let us now discuss work-life balance. One of the most potent results of hybrid working is this. People are not only productive, but also less stressed when they are allowed to work whenever and wherever it is most convenient for them. People perform better when their work feels like a meaningful part of their lives, rather than something that interferes with them. According to a senior manager in Google Singapore, people are not given freedom by strict 9-to-5 schedules. They are restricted by them. They are stressed by them. People can regain their time and balance their careers and personal lives through hybrid work. Take the example of a working mother, where in a traditional setup, she might meet her children late at night because of long commute time and late working hours. But when her company introduces hybrid working, she was able to pick her children up, spend more time with family, and even finish her task before the deadline. That's quality of life, not just balance. Additionally, hybrid work increases the productivity. Researchers indicate that workers are given the freedom to balance their personal and professional lives. Their level of satisfaction and productivity increases. More than 400 workers participated in a survey that found a correlation between improved work-life balance, organizational support, flexibility, and higher productivity. Additionally, supported by Dr. Kumar's research, that hybrid work promotes improved mental health and increased job satisfaction in addition to lowering. Because, let's be honest, not everyone thrives in the office. While some require quiet and concentrations, others require the buzz and the energy. People can select the setting in which they perform best thanks to hybrid working. Additionally, people accomplish more when they are content and focused. Because of this, productivity, balance, and flexibility are like domino effect. One comes first and then the others. Not only is hybrid work convenient, but it's also more intelligent and humane way of working. Not only hybrid working changed the way we work, but it also changed how offices expand, function, and thrive. Businesses that use hybrid work reduces expense, encourages innovation, teamwork, and have a larger access to the talent pool. Spreading out, covering more ground, and playing more strategically is similar to a well-positioned soccer team. First, let's talk about talent. Conventional office-based hiring restricts to local residents. However, hybrid work eliminates this issue. It enables companies to hire the best candidates no matter where they are located. Companies that offer hybrid options saw that a 30% increase in international applicants. They are not just more applicants, but they are better applicants. Additionally, it fosters the development of diverse teams with a range of experiences and backgrounds, which stimulates company creativity. One excellent example is Google. Because of its hybrid model, the company hires people from all over the world, such as Singapore, India, South Korea, and Indonesia. To help workers feel as involved in meetings as those present, it develops features like companion mode to keep people connected across locations. They also use employee resource groups to host virtual events and open office hours. Therefore, hybrid work does more than just increase the pool of talent. Organizations become more attentive, cooperative, and inclusive as a result. According to a European study, hybrid teams are 25% more likely than fully in office and fully remote teams to produce creative solutions. However, the advantages don't end there. Hybrid work reduces expenses for businesses. Businesses require less space, furniture, and utilities when there are fewer employees coming to the office each day. Businesses that use hybrid models have reported yearly expense savings of up to 22% on average. In actuality, companies are able to save roughly $11,000 annually for each employee. One excellent example is Dropbox. The business significantly reduced real estate expenses by subleasing 400,000 square feet of San Francisco office space. This freed up funds for R&D, improve remote work tools, and employee wellness, regardless of where they work. Investing in your company has an impact. Additionally, the advantages extend outside of the workforce. Customers also benefit. Additionally, hybrid work stimulates innovation, which leads to improved goods and services. Asynchronous communication and digital tools help teams brainstorm and work together more efficiently. Companies with hybrid structures are more adept at implementing new ideas, reacting quickly, and adjusting to customer feedbacks. In short, hybrid work increases an organization's agility. It increases productivity, lowers expense, and improves worker satisfaction, and results in more satisfied clients. It is a more intelligent business model than merely a work model. Today's consumers demand service that is accessible, dependable, and quick, that is made possible by hybrid working. Customer service no longer need to adhere to a rigid 9 to 5 schedule because teams are now dispersed across multiple time zones. Because of this decentralized structure, even outside of business hours, someone is always available to answer and respond more quickly. No more waiting for a basic question to be answered until the following day. And speed is not the only factor. Customer service gains experience, consistency, and a greater commitment to helping people as a result of hybrid work, which also reduce employee turnover and increase job satisfaction. And supporting employees encourage them to stay with the company, which means that clients are interacting with knowledgeable professionals. A better, more seamless customer experience is the result of all of this. It is more humane, effective, and represents the type of service that we all want. Thus, hybrid work does improve worker well-being. It lowers expense for companies. However, it also provides customers with the kind of adaptable, timely assistance that satisfies the needs of the fast world today. We must therefore discuss the topic even further. Not only does hybrid work benefit the workplace, but it also benefits the market. Now, I understand what some of you may be considering. Hybrid work isn't always the best option. Some content that it makes it harder to distinguish between our personal and professional lives. That hybrid work results in mental exhaustion, stress, and burnouts if the boundaries are unclear. Indeed, this is a legitimate worry. Hybrid work can lead to stress and confusion if not handled properly. The important thing is that when hybrid work is done correctly, these issues are actively addressed, then just solved. Look at Google Singapore. There is a senior manager that I personally interviewed that described how he was able to work whenever and wherever it was most convenient for him without compromising productivity through hybrid work. He underlined that people feel less stressed and more motivated when they are free to work in a way that suits their lives. He explained how working a hybrid schedule actually improved his work-life balance, enabling him to advance in his career and also spend time with his family. And this type of atmosphere is what Google cultivates. One that offers the appropriate tools, flexible scheduling, and supportive team culture. Nowadays, businesses manage office visits and arrange a face-to-face collaboration using sophisticated scheduling apps like Officely, Candice, and Envoy. In order to preserve team cohesiveness, many organizations also set aside anchor days, which when teams are expected to meet in person. These arrangements maintain the advantage of face-to-face communication while honoring the flexibility of working remotely. To bridge the gap between remote and in-person workers, businesses are also investing in digital literacy and training initiatives. These days, collaborative platforms like Zoom and Microsoft Teams are advanced enough to replicate face-to-face meetings, enabling teams to stay connected and productive from any location. Let's finally address the most contentious claim that remote workers may be lazy or even covertly working more than one job. Indeed, trust is necessary to hybrid work. However, should we really evaluate an employee based on the output or number of hours they work in a day? Let's look at a real-world example. John is a marketing staff, and he was given 2 weeks from his boss to create a marketing concept. In first, he finished it in 1 week, but his boss was mad at him, accusing that he was hurrying. But he finished the assignment ahead of time and with high quality. Efficiency is precisely what we want, isn't it? This is supported by research when performance is evaluated by output rather than numbers spent on a desk. Remote workers can be just as effective, or if not more, as in on-site workers. But even the Google senior manager put it plainly, why shouldn't workers be allowed to take on more than one job if they so choose, if they achieve their goals? We need to change the way we think. The goal of hybrid work is to do better, not less. It's about having faith that individuals will do more than clock in and clock out. Thus, hybrid work isn't flawless. However, the advantages greatly exceed the drawbacks it gives. With the proper framework, resource, and attitude are in place. Governments and companies are already adapted. It's time for additional organizations to come forward and for us all to remain open-minded. Governments and because this trend isn't limited to the workplace, this is how we will live and develop in the future. In summary, we have examined how hybrid work is useful and progressive solutions that is advantageous to all parties involved, not just a workplace fad. Workers benefit from increased flexibility and work-life balance. Companies increase productivity while reducing expense. Customers benefit from more attentive service. Although this model isn't flawless, it tackles a lot of problems that conventional work environments can't. The saying adaptability is the key to survival is widely recognized. Adhering to strict, antiquated work systems will only hinder us in a world driven by the internet and quick technological advancements. Our capacity to adapt is essential to innovation, and one of the most obvious manifestations of this evolution is hybrid work. Change does not just happen, of course. Companies need to take initiative by putting in place equitable and well-organized structures and work policies. Employees must perform, be trustworthy, and accountable for their work. To facilitate this shift, governments must make sure that hybrid policies are fair and safeguard employees and employers. Above all, though, we must all maintain an open mind. Hybrid work is a long-term solution, not a band-aid solution. We all have a part to play in bringing in a more flexible, balanced future. Let's proceed with greater intelligence, strength, and unity. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Edward. Our panelists are Miss Aubrey and Mr. Abed. Mr. Abed, do you want to go first?
Hi, Edward.
Hi.
I'm sorry of not choosing you
It's
to
okay.
be the advisor. I think the reason is because I have chosen two.
No, I was the first, I think, mister.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Anyway, I think, yeah, like Mr. Wade said, I think your topic is really interesting. Yeah, because I can see and heard the news that there are a lot of companies starting to do this, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially the benefits, I agree with you. The benefits is to decrease commuting, traffic jams, and more flexibility in where you work. Yeah, but of course there is a but. But like you keep mentioning about the examples that you are using in your thesis is mostly a tech company. You mentioned about Google. You mentioned about, I think Google is mostly mentioned in your thesis, right? How about the other field? Do you think it's also suitable to have a hybrid kind of model for maybe education or food and beverage or manufacturing? What do you think?
Thank you, Mr. Abed, for the excellent question. First, I chose mostly tech companies because they are the first industry to implement this, as far as I know. And what I choose is big tech companies, and I think for tech companies they adopt to this the fastest because I think it's easier for them to adapt because mostly their jobs are they can work from home or work from anywhere off the office. They don't require a person to be physically there. And for other industries like manufacturing, healthcare, and else, I think that will be available in the future because with the growing of AI, I think most jobs that are requiring physical us to be there, I think it will be replaced and it will be left with jobs that are able for us to do it somewhere else.
Okay. I still can imagine, like for example, let's talk about healthcare.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about healthcare. How do you think in the future that it is able to do the hybrid work model in hospital?
Sorry, sir, what?
In a hospital, let's say in a hospital.
Yeah.
How is it possible that there is only like people who works only 3 days a week in the hospital and 2 days at home, for example? How is it applicable?
Okay.
How is it gonna be applied in the future in your mind, in your imagination? Because
Okay.
you said it's in the future, right?
Yeah.
Right now it's not yet, right?
Yeah.
In the future, how do you imagine it?
In the future, I think like nurses, I think they're gonna be replaced by AI, and that if you're like a top doctor, you can do surgery. Like if the doctor is in China and we want to do surgery in Indonesia, I think that will be already possible. Right now, there's already a case where the doctor is in China and the patient is somewhere else. They did surgery through machine, yeah, and that's how I vision that workers will only need to come 3 to 4 times a week because maybe they just need to check up on somebody or maybe customer service like that, Mister.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. I'm tickled with your sentence here. It's in the page 6. Do you bring your thesis?
No.
No, but I'll read it for you. It's
Okay.
fine. This issue is more of a quality. This is impacted by a biblical view where it is written in the Bible that individuals should be open-minded to new ideas and be responsible to their duties. Which verse is that from?
I honestly forgot, Mr. Where's that from?
Oh, okay. Well, I hope that you can like quote the Bible first, here,
Yeah.
right? Because like, I don't know. Do you know the Bible first? Yeah. Anyway, maybe in the future, I think it's gonna be great if you
Yeah.
wanna put like a Bible principle, biblical principle. It's gonna be great if you also put the verse there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, so should I ask this really? Okay. How did you do during pandemic, Edward?
How did
with
I
school?
with school?
Uh,
In the pandemic, I did well, Mister. I think
you did well.
I did well. I really enjoyed learning online because I didn't need to prepare for like I don't really take a bath or like I don't I eat like 5 minutes before class. I can wake up later because I don't need to commute to school or anything. And I think I feel like I studied better in online class because like I don't know, personally I like to study like with less noise, Mister. And I'm more comfortable doing my tasks and homework at home. And that.
Okay, let's say that that's for you because
Yeah.
I believe that it's different for all people,
Yeah.
right? But based on my experience
Yes.
going through pandemic, in CBCS and also from other schools, that the academic ability of the students generally decreased by a lot, by almost maybe 1 or 2 years. For example, when I did admission, when we did an admission test to enter the School of Rhetoric, we kind of used the same problem sets over the year, right? But the result is significantly decreased, like significantly decreased. Gitu ya. So this is also related with your topic because your topic is a combination between on-site working and online working, right? Let's say
Yeah.
like that, right? So how do we solve this problem? Like you said, sometimes people tend to be lazy.
Yeah.
Instead of being productive, people being unproductive because maybe I don't know for whatever reason, right?
Yeah.
How is a company like you? I think you also mentioned here. Uh, to sustain productivity, the OPM also emphasize performance management in a hybrid environment. How effective is this performance management? What I'm asking you is like, how do we make sure if we implement this hybrid working model that people will be productive instead of doing like full on-site working?
Okay, thank you for the question, Mister. First of all, for an aspects for the company, what they can do is they can judge a employee from what they achieve, from what they got what did they got done. And I think that companies shouldn't be that hard to track what their employees are working on, and did they finish it on time or they finish it late after the deadline. And for the aspects of the employees, sure, like the firms need more trust in the employees, which means that the employees they need to have like they need to be for in other words, they need to be a boss of themselves. They need to be more diligent with themselves, and I think it will help people to grow as a person through hybrid working because they need to be responsible with themselves. Itu. I think like that, Mister.
Let's move on to Miss Aubrey.
Just one more, if I may. Okay, just one more question. Like, how realistic is your idea to be applied in Indonesia
Uh,
with, you know,
yeah,
culture and the mindset of Indonesian people, right?
yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's my last question.
First of all, in the future, I can imagine Indonesia having hybrid working, but I think it needs a lot of help from the people to be accepting of this new change, and also from the government aspects, because I know that most parts of Indonesia, they don't have access to like good technology or internet. I think the government needs to help most of the rural areas to help to compensate that. And I think for Indonesians, I think this is for Gen Z and for Gen Alpha, right? I think with our generation, I think we're more accepting to new changes. So, yeah. Thank you, Mister.
Hi, Edward.
Hi, Miss.
Great job. Very interesting topic. I was a teacher in America of hybrid teaching during COVID, and so a couple of my questions are sort of approaching it. That's how I'm comparing it, because that was my experience with hybrid working, right? I'm going to skip around a little bit to relate to what Mr. Abed was talking about. You mentioned that, let me find my note here. You mentioned that hybrid working allows big companies to hire people from all over the world, therefore creating more opportunities.
Yes.
How would you respond to someone saying that this might prevent developing countries from advancing within their own country because all of the well-qualified people aren't investing in their own country, but they're working for other countries?
Thank you for the question, Miss. In my opinion, I think this, in the same time, would generate more job, like work opportunities for even people from developing countries, and people with not with capable minds. And I think with these big companies to hire people from, example, developing countries, I think they can work in that company for a couple of years, and as if they can come back, and they can help their country. So what I'm saying that with hybrid working, it can create opportunities for people to gain experience from big companies, and they can use those experience and ways to help their country back. Something.
If they are making plenty of money with these big companies, what would be the motivator for them to invest back into their developing country that doesn't have the same resources as, say, a more developed country?
The advantages is that if they come back if they want to make the same business as that big company, they already know like the infrastructure and everything. And I think in developing countries, they wouldn't have any businesses closely similar to any of the big companies. So I think that they can be like the only business to replicate in that country. Yes. I think they will still make a lot of money while at the same time help people in their country.
Thank you. Your essay claims that hybrid working benefits consumers by improving service quality. Can you provide an example of a way that a consumer would benefit specifically from hybrid work?
A consumer can benefit from hybrid work. The most simple and easiest advantage is that they can have cheaper products because the company use less money to invest in buildings and expenses. I think the cost for their products will decrease. And second, they can have faster response time with customer services.
To build off of that, you mentioned that it's cheaper and that it saves money and also makes jobs simpler. Sort of a twofold question, along with saving the company money, but also making the job simpler. Can I gather my thoughts a moment?
Yeah.
I'll ask the first part, and then maybe the second part will come.
Yeah.
If someone is given the option, right? You're saying hybrid, so half at home, half in the office.
Yeah.
But then you say people learn all different or work better different ways, right? You like to be at home, I like to be at the office, right? So would both of those be required to happen all of the time? Or if something is hybrid, would we be both required to do both? Or would a company have to invest in spending lots of money to make sure everyone that wants to be at home all the time has to have all of the resources to be at home? Everybody that wants to be in the office all the time has to have all the resources to be there all of the time. Then you'd have to hire multiple managers. I was a hybrid teacher. That was not simpler for me, right? I'm teaching at the same time, kids in a classroom and kids online. So I think to be productive, we would need to hire multiple managers. So that seems to me that would make jobs more complicated because you would have to hire more people, therefore complicating communication chains, and also potentially save a little bit of money some places, but potentially not enough to save the consumer money. Sorry, that was a lot. Feel free to answer respond however you need.
Okay. First of all, to answer the first part, hybrid working allows people to work wherever and whenever they feel comfortable and suitable. And it depends per company whether they want their people to come, for example, 2 times a week into the office, or maybe once a month or twice. It's really depending on what the company prefers. And to answer what you said about hiring more people into the company, I think that's not the case because even without hybrid working, in let's say in conventional work, there is already always a manager in a team. There's a team and there's always a manager above the team to lead them. And I don't think there is a need to hire more managers because I think because we're talking about a company that's from a conventional model to a hybrid model. They're trying to transition. I don't think that transition will have the need to have more managers. Maybe a way to make sure that people can work well and do their job is that you can, like in Google, when I interviewed the senior manager there, I asked how did he keep people like in the same page and how he made sure everyone works. He said that every month Google has these like evaluation, like everybody evaluates each other, so that it's a really fair like a fair grade, like fair judgment, and that everybody is pushed to make everybody else involved. Like for example, if a person asks another person what are they working on, they would explain. So they're trying to be helpful with everybody, so everybody would feel involved in the project. Yeah.
Thank you. Last question, sort of joint with Mr. Abed's question earlier. What do you think the long-term implications of adopting hybrid models would be for within a society, not just within a business? What benefits would you say that a whole society could have from hybrid working?
Can you reword your question, Miss?
Yes. Short term, we can see, like Google, for example, says, okay, things are more flexible, things are cheaper. Within a... Do you know what I'm trying to ask? Okay, great. Mr. Wade has a question.
I do have a question because I spent a lot of years in the high-tech industry. And in fact, I was a software developer for many years. And our company started allowing hybrid work, or at least employees that worked from home all the time. They hired people from at home. And I can tell you this, is that what bothers me, the only thing that bothered me, what you said, was that it shouldn't matter how many hours you work. It shouldn't matter if you meet deadlines. Well, there's never a manager that's going to give you a deadline that gives you lots of padded room. Everybody wants something as fast as you can do it so you can get to the next job. We actually had an employee, not us, but I knew of an employee from another company that was playing this game where they're telling their employee, oh yeah, it's going to take me about a week longer than you think it's going to take. And then he's got a whole second job. And so nobody knew it until, his reviews were getting pretty bad because he was taking so much time to do things. But don't you think that's a real problem with this hybrid working, is that people could actually deceive their employees and be doing more than one job at a time?
Thank you, Mr. Wade, for the excellent question. To respond to having an employee having more than one job, I think to have more than one job, in my opinion, is okay as long as the first job, as long as for both jobs, you do finish it right and on time, and that none of the companies are dirugiin, are like they like not both companies are not like dirugiin, like Mr.
Should both companies know that I have another job, or is it okay for me to deceive them?
I think for hybrid work, I think they need to be more transparent with their professional lives. So that I think it's really wrong if it's kept in secret. So I think it will be better if it's transparent.
Okay, time is up. Thank you, Edward. You have persevered our difficult questions. All right. Good. So good job, Edward. We will meet over here for photographs with friends and family. And the next one starts at 1:05. And I think that's Andy. Is that you? Okay. Andy's at 1:05. All right. Thank you guys for coming.